This may be your last opportunity to escape what is to come. Something very serious and profound has been revealed, and I cannot let you be without knowing. The last message of the Virgin Mary was delivered with a clear purpose: to prepare the chosen ones for dark times. If you are watching this, it is because you were chosen to receive this message now. Pay close attention. Not everyone will understand, and not everyone is ready. Only those with a strong spirit and an open heart will truly grasp its meaning. You may be wondering why it is so important to watch until the very end. If you don't listen to everything that will be revealed, you risk ignoring a crucial warning, and the consequences could be devastating. This isn't just about curiosity. It's about protecting your faith and being prepared for something far greater, something that is already unfolding. You need to know before it's too late. Be on guard, keep awake. For you do not know when the time will come. Mark 13 verse 33. This is not just another religious message. It's not for everyone. It is for the few who still believe, for those who sense that the world is changing, and who feel deep within their souls that something significant is approaching. If you are here, it is because this message was intended for you. And let me be clear, not watching until the end could cost you more than you realize. This is an urgent call, not just advice. The Virgin Mary has sent us a warning, and ignoring it could be the greatest mistake of your life. Therefore, stay awake, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming. Matthew 24 verse 42. Are you prepared to know what comes next? Are you ready to learn how to protect yourself from what is coming? Before we continue, you must decide to watch until the end and prepare yourself, or run the risk of being completely unprotected. What is at the center of this revelation transcends borders. Its shadow will spread far beyond. Only those who listen carefully to every word will have a chance to face what lies ahead. I understand that what I am saying may seem heavy, but when the Virgin Mary appeared with this last message, she was clear: difficult times are coming. For the time is coming when people will not endure sound teaching. 2 Timothy 4 verse 3. The fate of many is at stake, and only those who are spiritually prepared will have the strength to face the challenges. Her warning was not vague. It echoes to this day. Get ready. Seek refuge in faith, and do not ignore the signs. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run into it and are safe. Proverbs 18 verse 10. I want to help you understand what this warning means, but for that, you need to pay attention until the end of this message. Every word is crucial. Every detail could be the difference between being protected or vulnerable. Imagine a silent war. Political pressures and spiritual trials are not predictions. They are realities already unfolding. You need to be ready. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. Ephesians 6 verse 11. Don't ignore what will be said. Your spiritual and emotional protection depends on it. If you've come this far, it's not by chance. This is a decisive moment. Now, before we proceed, take a moment to reflect. Share in the comments where you are watching from. It's incredible to see how far our messages are reaching and how they are connecting people around the world. Let us know the name of your city, your country, or that special place where you accompany us. We love to feel this connection, knowing that even far away, we are all united in faith. This is not an ordinary message. It is a direct and extraordinary revelation. For the Lord God does nothing without revealing His secret to His servants the prophets. Amos 3 verse 7. We are talking about the last message of the Virgin Mary, sent to alert those who are spiritually ready. If you are here, it is because something greater has brought you to this moment. It is not a coincidence. It is essential that you understand, this message is not for everyone. Only those with a receptive heart and an open soul will be able to absorb the depth of what is being said. The Virgin Mary has always spoken to all her children, but not everyone is prepared to listen. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. Matthew 11 verse 15. The world is full of distractions, and only those who can silence their minds and focus on what truly matters will be ready. I know this message was sent specifically to you. You are searching for answers, protection, and guidance. It is no wonder you feel in your heart that something is changing, that things are no longer as they were before. The signs are everywhere, and Mary warned us that times of great tribulations are approaching. Whoever is prepared will face them with courage. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand firm. Ephesians 6 verse 13. Can you feel how this touches your spirit? There is something greater happening, something beyond our everyday concerns. We are not talking about trivial matters, but about challenges that could change everything. Be vigilant, stay strong in faith, and heed the warning. The course of your life, and the lives of those you love, is about to change, and you must be prepared. The Virgin Mary, in her infinite wisdom and compassion, has always been a guiding light for her children. In times of crisis, she appears to offer protection, hope, and warnings. Her most recent message comes at a critical juncture, and you were chosen to receive it now because time is short. We are facing a revelation that cannot be ignored. Those who listen and act will find protection, while those who turn away may face serious consequences. This video marks the beginning of a journey. Today, you are being invited to prepare your spirit, strengthen your faith, and unite with others who are ready. What is coming cannot be faced alone. Faith and unity are our greatest defenses against the forces that will try to shake us. Your presence here is not by accident. If you've come this far, it means your soul is seeking something deeper. You are searching for answers, and those answers will be revealed, but only to those who are open to receiving them with humility and devotion. The Virgin Mary knows what lies ahead and wishes to protect her children, ensuring they are prepared to face any challenge. Remember, this message is not about fear, but about hope, protection, and spiritual readiness. The Virgin Mary offers us a chance to understand what's coming and to prepare ourselves in faith. Now is the time to strengthen your connection with the divine and to remain vigilant. As you listen to this revelation, remember that you are here for a reason. Believing in something greater, in a spiritual force that guides and protects us, can make all the difference in life's most difficult moments. Pay attention, for the words you are about to hear are deep and powerful. They cannot be forgotten, for those who listen and believe will find hope and salvation, while those who ignore the message will find their trials much harder to bear. Keep an open mind, a receptive heart, and a focused spirit, because what you are about to hear could change the course of your life, offering a new perspective on the challenging days ahead. The revelation continues. Imagine a peaceful night in a remote corner of Mexico, where the warm desert wind carried the scent of night-blooming flowers. Inside a small church, the atmosphere of deep devotion was interrupted by a profound transformation at the altar. A soft, ethereal light began to glow, unlike anything anyone had ever seen. This celestial light filled the church, bringing with it a sense of infinite peace, yet also a deep mystery that touched the souls of everyone present. The faithful, unsure of what they were witnessing, were in awe. Their prayers gave way to amazement, as their eyes were drawn to the altar, from which this powerful light emanated. The air seemed charged with an electric energy, and time appeared to stand still. Everyone felt the weight of the spiritual moment. They were witnessing something extraordinary, a miracle, and they knew it. As the light filled the room, a figure began to take shape. The Virgin Mary appeared, gently floating above the altar, surrounded by an aura of serenity and power. Her eyes shone with compassion and sadness, as though she carried the burden of all humanity in her heart. Her presence was so powerful that the faithful fell to their knees, overcome with reverence. They knew they were in the presence of something divine. But it wasn't just her vision that held them captive, there was something deeper. The air itself seemed to vibrate with a spiritual energy that touched the hearts and minds of all who were present. It was a moment of transcendence, where the boundary between the spiritual and the earthly faded, and everyone could sense the presence of something far greater. With a gentle gesture, the Holy Mother raised her hand, and with it came a wave of peace that swept through the small temple. Her voice, when she spoke, was soft yet profound, carrying a depth that pierced the souls of all who heard it. The faithful knew her words carried a spiritual power that could not be ignored. They were being blessed with a revelation, one that demanded their complete attention. The walls of the church seemed to hum with the energy of the moment. Every word, every glance, every movement of the Virgin Mary carried an important message. And what she was about to say would change the lives of everyone present forever. Can you imagine the intensity of that moment? The Virgin Mary's presence filled the church with a mix of serenity and solemnity. There was no room for doubt. Everyone there understood they were experiencing something rare and sacred. Now, you too are invited to witness this revelation. What was said that night is about to be shared with you, word for word. But first, I ask you to stay until the end, because every detail matters, and each word carries deep meaning. You cannot afford to miss it. What you are about to hear is not just a story, it's a calling. A call that will touch your spirit just as it touched the hearts of the faithful in that small church in Mexico. The revelation that follows has the power to transform not only your life, but the way you see the world. The Virgin Mary appeared that night for a reason, and her message is meant not just for those who were present, it's for you. The presence of the Virgin Mary in that church was indescribable. Her form floated above the altar, enveloped in a light so intense it seemed to come from another world. Compassion and sadness radiated from her eyes, as though she carried the weight of countless souls. The air was thick with spiritual energy, something the faithful had never experienced before. They understood, without a doubt, that this was a divine moment. Mary stood before them, as she had in so many other moments of great crisis throughout the history of humanity. This time, her message was different. It was a warning, a call for everyone to prepare for something that was about to happen, something that could shake the foundations, not only of that small community, but of entire nations. The silence was absolute. The murmurs of prayers and whispers of devotion quickly faded, replaced by a paralyzing reverence. The faithful, who had instinctively knelt, didn't dare to lift their eyes. Even without looking directly at her, they could feel the powerful aura that emanated from the Holy Mother. Her hands were slightly raised, as if offering both protection and warning. Deep in their hearts, they knew the gravity of what she was about to say. Mary's voice began to fill the space, and it was unlike anything they had ever heard. It was soft, but filled with a spiritual force that could be felt almost physically. It wasn't an ordinary voice. It penetrated beyond the ears, reaching the heart and soul of everyone present. The impact of her words would be felt long after that night. She began to speak. "Dear children, challenging times are at our door. What is to come will test your faith in ways you never imagined." Her words resonated in the silence, each carrying the weight of a profound truth. Everyone knew that Mary was not there to offer superficial comfort. She was there to prepare them, to warn them of what was about to happen. She paused, and the church, already immersed in reverence, became even more still. Each person felt the invisible weight of her words, as though they were being engraved directly into their souls. They knew that something great was coming, and it was impossible to ignore the gravity of the situation. Mary's eyes, filled with compassion and sorrow, reflected the pain she felt for them. "The world as you know it is about to change," she continued, her voice firm and clear. "The events that are approaching will shake the nations, and many will be tested." Her clarity left no room for doubt. The times to come would bring great trials, and those who were not spiritually prepared could succumb to the weight of these adversities. What she said next made their hearts freeze. "Mexico will be tested." Her words echoed through the church, and a sense of fear and reverence filled the air. "The forces moving in the shadows cannot be contained by human hands," she warned, "but those who maintain their faith, those who seek refuge in God and in me, will be protected." The silence that followed was almost suffocating. Everyone knew that Mexico would face a great ordeal. She spoke of a storm approaching, not just a literal one, but a spiritual storm that would change the lives of all who heard her. Mary warned that the next few months would be a great challenge, and that many would not understand what was happening. These would be times when everyone's faith would be tested to the utmost, and only those who turned to prayer and spirituality would be able to face what was to come. The faithful were overwhelmed by a mixture of emotions. They feared what Mary had announced, But at the same time, they felt a sense of relief knowing they had been given a chance to prepare. Her warning was not just a message, it was an opportunity, a chance to strengthen their spirits and prepare for the difficult times ahead. Mary made it clear that now was the time to reconnect with the divine, to seek refuge in prayer, and to prepare spiritually. From that moment on, each person's choices would matter. Those who ignored the call might not survive the trials to come. As she spoke these words, tears filled the eyes of the faithful. They didn't know all the details of what was to come, but they knew that the Virgin Mary, in her infinite wisdom, was there to guide them. Her message was clear. Prepare. The atmosphere inside that small church in Mexico was filled with an indescribable emotion. The faithful, still kneeling, felt the weight of every word the Virgin Mary spoke, hovering like a celestial presence over the altar. The peace that her presence initially brought soon gave way to a heavy warning, one that no one was truly ready to hear. The tension, already intense, became almost unbearable. Each person knew, deep in their hearts, that what would be revealed next would be a test of their very souls. Challenging times are at our doorstep. The voice of the Virgin Mary was soft, yet carried a weight that seemed to pierce the air. Her words echoed deeply in the hearts and minds of the faithful, like a call to arms. This wasn't an ordinary warning, it was urgent, a message that went beyond daily trials. It spoke of something far greater, something that would shake the very foundations of life. Everyone present could feel the gravity of her words. Mary continued, "What is to come will not be easy. Trials will test your faith and unity as never before. The very foundations of this nation will be shaken in ways many cannot yet imagine." Her words stirred anxiety among the believers, who exchanged uneasy glances, trying to grasp the magnitude of what was being said. This was no ordinary challenge. What Mary was warning about was a profound transformation that would touch the lives of all. Her warning was not to be taken lightly. It was a call to action, a plea for spiritual preparation. The coming weeks and months would bring challenges, and those not grounded in faith could be swept away by the storms on the horizon. "Storms are coming," she said, her voice taking on a more serious tone. But these were not just physical storms. They were spiritual, invisible to the eye but felt deeply in the soul. The gravity of her message was clear, and many among the faithful were struck with fear and reverence. Others closed their eyes, silently praying, as if already sensing the need to reconnect with their spirituality. The forces now moving in the world cannot be fought with earthly means alone, she warned. Only those deeply connected to God would be able to withstand what was coming. She paused, giving time for the gravity of her words to sink in. What Mary was revealing was nothing less than a spiritual war, one that would test both the physical and immaterial realms. People would be challenged not just by their actions, but by their ability to hold onto unshakable faith in the midst of darkness. She cautioned that many would search for quick, earthly solutions, but only those who relied on the power of prayer and spirituality would endure. And then came the darkest warning: Mexico will face great suffering, and it will not be alone. A powerful nation will rise against it, not with weapons, but with invisible, silent forces. The shock was immediate. Her words fell like a heavy stone in the hearts of those present. A great nation, driven by hidden powers, would act against Mexico in ways unseen until it was too late. "You must prepare," Mary urged with grave seriousness. The air in the small church seemed to cool, and the candlelight, once peaceful, now flickered with the weight of her message. "Pray, prayer will be your greatest weapon. Only through prayer and communion with the divine will you find peace amid the coming storms." Mexico was about to face an immense test, and Mary's call was clear: spiritual preparation was essential. This would not be a test of physical strength or social endurance alone, it would be a test of faith. Her words filled the room with urgency. Hearts that once felt hopeful now swelled with concern and uncertainty. What would become of this nation? What trials lay ahead? With eyes filled with both sadness and wisdom, Mary ended this part of her message with a final warning: only those who seek spiritual refuge will withstand what is to come. Her words seemed to hang in the air, heavy and undeniable. As her message echoed throughout the church, the faithful felt a mix of emotions: fear, reverence, and deep introspection. The silence that followed was almost as thick as the spiritual atmosphere she had created. Mary's message wasn't just a simple warning, it was a prophecy that demanded total attention and immediate spiritual preparation. Everyone present knew, deep down, that they weren't ready for what was to come. How could they be? Everyday life had never prepared them for a message of this magnitude. The idea that Mexico would face such a great and unseen challenge left everyone with a heavy heart. Yet, there was still a flicker of hope. They had been warned. The Virgin Mary, in her compassion, had come personally to prepare them, and that meant there was still time to act, to strengthen their souls, and to deepen their convictions. What she had said was not just a warning, it was a call to action. Each person in that church felt the weight of responsibility. Mary had chosen them, just as she has now chosen you, to be among the first to know and to prepare for what lies ahead. But the question remained: would they be ready in time? Could they strengthen their prayers, their faith, and their communities before the unseen forces moved against them? The eyes of the faithful remained fixed on the Virgin Mary, who continued to radiate that serene yet sorrowful presence. She knew the weight of her words rested heavily on their shoulders, and she was about to guide them on the next steps. "You are not alone," said Mary, her voice bringing relief to everyone's hearts. Though her words offered comfort, the seriousness of the message could not be ignored. The once calm and prayerful atmosphere now felt heavy with unanswered questions. What powerful force was coming? What were the silent dangers she spoke of? Each person tried to grasp the meaning behind the warning, but Mary knew she couldn't reveal everything all at once. Faith, after all, is a journey that involves mystery, trust, and surrender. You do not need to understand all the details now, but you must trust, she continued, her words settling in their hearts like a solid promise, a pillar of faith amidst the approaching storm. In the power of prayer, trust in the strength of your souls, and above all, trust in me. I will be with you, even in the darkest hours, when fear seems to overwhelm. The room seemed to grow colder, as if even the walls of the small church understood the gravity of her warning. The flames of the candles flickered with the intensity of the moment, and the faces of the faithful reflected pure devotion. Tears filled the eyes of some, not out of despair, but because they knew they were standing in the presence of something far greater than any trial they had ever faced. Mary was calling them to a spiritual battle, one that would not be seen with the eyes, but felt deeply in their lives, their families, and their hearts. This battle will not be won with physical strength, she emphasized, but with unshakable faith, constant prayer, and a deep communion with the divine. Only through this spiritual connection with God would it be possible to endure what was coming. She paused for a moment, letting the weight of her words settle in the silence. Her gaze swept over the room, and it was as if she was looking into the soul of each person, seeing their doubts, their fears, and their hopes. "You need to prepare," she said softly, but with authority. "This is not a common preparation. You must connect with God every day. Seek refuge in the most powerful prayers, the ones that reach the heavens. Strengthen your hearts and your souls, for what is to come, my children, will test every fiber of your faith." Her words echoed through the sacred space, lingering like a solemn charge. The path ahead would not be easy, but it was not impossible for those whose faith remained strong. In the midst of the tension, she offered hope. "You are not alone. My protection is with you, but you must act. Be in communion with the divine. Your faith will be the shield that protects you from the darkness that is about to fall." Her final words that night resonated as a sacred reminder: the destiny of many is in your hands. The uncertain future can only be faced through faith. The faithful, still kneeling, felt a new strength rise within them. Mary's message was not merely a warning of danger, but a call to spiritual unity. They knew now they were not alone on this journey. Though the mission was serious, they had clarity on what needed to be done. Those who were prepared would know how to face the coming storms by trusting in divine protection, prayer, and unshakable faith. And you, too, are being called to prepare. Mary's words were clear: you need to prepare. But what does that preparation truly mean? How do you get ready for something so vast, something that impacts not just the physical world but the spiritual? It was evident that the time to act had arrived. Mary's message was not a vague warning, but a clear call for spiritual readiness. This meant more than continuing with daily religious routines. It required a deeper surrender, a connection beyond the surface level of prayer. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness. Ephesians 6 verse 12. Mary had made it clear that the power of prayer would be the shield against the trials to come. The Lord is near to all who call on Him, to all who call on Him in truth. Psalm 145 verse 18. Prayer would unite hearts, minds, and souls, creating a spiritual barrier to protect those who were ready to face the storms. Pray without ceasing, the Virgin Mary had said. You cannot face what is coming with the weapons of this world. Her message revealed a deeper truth. It was not just a physical conflict, but a spiritual war that required preparation of the soul. This battle could not be won through human strength alone. It demanded unshakable faith and a deep communion with God. The first step in preparing was daily prayer, not just a quick or mechanical one, but a moment of true spiritual connection. Mary urged the faithful to withdraw from worldly distractions and dedicate themselves to prayer, which would become the foundation of spiritual resistance. Prayer would be the fuel that kept their faith alive in the darkest moments. Mary emphasized the importance of praying together, forming communities of faith. The union of your souls in prayer will create a spiritual fortress that cannot be broken, she said. Facing these trials alone would expose individuals to the forces already at work in the shadows. Only through solidarity and unity could they withstand the coming darkness. But prayer alone was not enough. Mary called for spiritual purification. Each person needed to cleanse their heart of resentments, unresolved pain, and any emotional burdens that could weaken their soul. What is to come will test not only your faith, but your ability to forgive and love, she said. A pure heart, free from grudges, would allow the divine light to dwell within. This process of purification would require deep self-examination and the removal of all spiritual barriers that separated them from God. Mary also urged families to unite in prayer. Pray together, protect your homes, and pray for your loved ones, she instructed. A family united in prayer would create a protective shield that the forces of darkness could not penetrate. In addition to prayer, Mary stressed the importance of charity. Faith without works is dead, she reminded them, echoing the gospel. Those spiritually prepared must also extend a hand to the needy, the sick, and the vulnerable. Acts of charity would strengthen the soul and help resist temptations. Communities must care for one another, especially in the times of despair that were coming. Charity and compassion would be vital to maintaining hope. Mary's message wasn't just spiritual, it was practical as well. She urged people to prepare physically, stocking food, preparing homes for scarcity, and getting ready for economic and social challenges. The storm that is coming will affect every aspect of your lives, she said. Complete preparation, spiritual, emotional, and physical, was essential. The Virgin Mary had departed, leaving behind a crucial message. There would be no other opportunity to prepare like this one. People needed to act now, while there was still time. A spiritual and physical storm was approaching, and those who were unprepared could easily be swept away. Yet, those who heeded the call and followed Mary's guidance would find protection. They would learn how to resist and, in the end, emerge purified, strengthened, and united in their faith. Spiritual preparation required more than mere words. It demanded a total transformation of the heart and soul. Those who listened and acted upon her message would not be alone, as Mary had promised, "I will be with you." Her voice echoed within the hearts of the faithful, serving as a constant reminder of what lay ahead. No one could face these challenging times alone. While spiritual preparation had already begun, it was now time to take the next step. Union and solidarity would be the most powerful forces against the brewing storms. Those who tried to resist alone would find themselves more vulnerable to the trials ahead. But together, as a community united by faith and love, they would be stronger. "You are not alone," Mary assured them, her voice soft yet resolute. "Come together, for from your hearts and spirits you will find the strength necessary to overcome the challenges to come." This was a clear call, a heartfelt invitation for everyone to unite as brothers and sisters, fortified by their common faith. Mary understood that difficult times would test not only individual resolve, but also the collective spirit. Faith should not be confined to solitary prayers within four walls. Each person was called to connect with their brothers and sisters, to strengthen spiritual and emotional ties with those around them. In the darkest moments, this connection would keep the flame of hope alive. She made a powerful appeal: come together in prayer. Do not let the barriers of pride, resentment, or indifference separate you. It is time to tear down these walls and build bridges, for together you will stand firm. For those who felt isolated, who believed their faith was a solitary journey, the Virgin Mary illuminated a different path. The strength of community would be vital. Mary spoke directly about how the times ahead would test not only individuals, but society as a whole. Divisive conflicts and tensions would arise, and people might be tempted to turn against one another. Fear would act as a silent enemy, sowing seeds of distrust and hatred. However, as she warned, this would be a trap set by the invisible forces already at work in the world. The only way to resist these forces was through unshakable unity and mutual protection. Solidarity would be key to overcoming these challenges. Mary insisted that the faithful could not ignore the needs of their neighbors, friends, and even strangers. Those who had faith must support those losing hope, becoming a light for those in darkness. Every act of kindness, every gesture of help, would not only strengthen others, but also fortify themselves. "Charity will be your greatest weapon," said Mary. "The love you show to one another will create an invisible shield of protection against the forces attempting to destroy your communities." Her words resonated like a clarion call. Mutual aid should be put into practice immediately. Those with more resources, time, or physical strength should volunteer to assist those facing greater challenges. This was the true spirit of preparation. Mary reminded everyone that during the trials to come, many would lose their faith. They would look at the chaos around them and wonder where God was. In those moments, those spiritually fortified must become beacons of hope, extending their hands to the afflicted not only with words of comfort, but with tangible support. "You will be the instruments of the divine in this world," she proclaimed. "Through your acts of compassion, people will believe again. It will be your gestures of love that demonstrate that God has not abandoned them." This was an enormous responsibility, but she assured them that those who chose the path of love and solidarity would not be alone. She would stand beside each one, guiding and strengthening their hearts. Spiritual preparation was not solely an individual journey, it was a shared path. Each person was called to live their faith not only in prayer, but through acts of charity and unity with others. The more people united, the stronger the spiritual shield would become against the lurking challenges. Only in unity could they weather the storm that was approaching. Before continuing her message, the Virgin Mary made a final request. Today, you must start preparing, but do it together. Come together in prayer and help one another, for what is coming cannot be faced alone. This was a direct appeal to those who believed they could resist challenges independently. Mary emphasized that no one could overcome these trials alone. Her presence was there to ensure everyone understood this truth. She highlighted the importance of families praying together and communities uniting for strength. Only through your union will you find the greatest miracle, she said, her eyes sparkling. When you grasp this concept, you will be truly prepared for what lies ahead. The faithful felt her words renew their hope. Yes, times would be difficult, but united in collective faith, prayer, and solidarity, they could face anything. With Mary by their side, they knew they would have the strength to overcome any adversity. Despite the weight of her warnings, Mary conveyed an essential truth: hope should never be abandoned. No matter how strong the storm or how dark the horizon, there would always be a guiding light for those who have faith and trust in the divine. She promised that this light would never fade for those who remain steadfast in their prayers, stating, "Even in the darkest moments, there will be an invisible force by your side. I will be with you, and God will never abandon His children." Her words provided comfort to the souls already feeling the weight of future tribulations. It was as if she reassured each person present that, although the trials would be intense, they would never be alone. There would be a divine hand guiding and protecting them, offering hope. Mary clarified that the difficulties were not the end, rather, they represented a process of purification. Each challenge, obstacle, and trial would serve to strengthen those who kept the faith, akin to fire that purifies gold. "You need to understand," she said in a soft but firm voice, "that these trials are not a punishment, they are an opportunity. An opportunity to grow spiritually and connect more deeply with God and your fellow brothers and sisters." This was the crucial point of her message. Those who viewed challenges as opportunities for spiritual growth would emerge from tribulations stronger and more aligned with the divine. The faithful listened intently, many with tears in their eyes. What Mary offered was more than a warning, it was a promise. Despite adversities, there would be a greater purpose behind everything that would unfold. They would not face these trials without reason. A divine plan was in action, resulting in purification and spiritual rebirth. However, Mary understood that even with this promise, many would still grapple with fear, the fear of the unknown, fear of loss, and fear of the trials ahead. So, she provided a comforting message: do not succumb to fear, for it is the weapon darkness will use against you. Instead, trust in God, for faith will serve as your shield. Fear can only dominate those who allow it. For those who choose faith, there is no room for fear in their hearts. Mary promised that faith would bring deep calm, even in the greatest storms. "You may feel chaos around you," she said, "but within you, there will be peace, for you will be connected with the divine. She also spoke of signs that would come, often misinterpreted. Do not see the signs of destruction as an end, she cautioned. These signs herald a new beginning. Each storm, each tribulation, will act as a spiritual cleansing, removing impurities and making way for something new and stronger. Mary reminded everyone that signs of transformation would not only manifest through major catastrophes, but also through subtle changes in people's hearts. Many would begin to feel an internal restlessness, a search for something deeper, a desire to reconnect with the spiritual. Pay attention to these small signs, she urged. Notice changes in behavior and in the hearts of those around you. This will be the beginning of the true spiritual change that is about to unfold for those who remain firm in their faith. The Virgin Mary departed with a profound reminder: no matter how dark the times may seem, the light would never be extinguished. She instructed the faithful to cling to this hope, as if it were the last flame in the midst of darkness, for this hope would be their guiding star. By nurturing this light, they would not only save themselves, but also help guide many others who felt lost amid tribulations. You will be the light in the darkness, said Mary. Each one of you possesses the power to guide those who have strayed from their path, who have lost their faith, hope, and love for one another. This mission was a divine responsibility that should not be underestimated. For those who chose to follow this path, Mary promised protection and guidance. The challenges ahead would be great and difficult, but they were also necessary. The faithful understood that by preparing themselves spiritually and coming together in solidarity, they would not only survive the storm, but emerge stronger, more united, and enlightened. Faith would be their greatest shield, and hope would illuminate their way. With a soft yet powerful smile, Mary reassured them, "You are not alone. My protection will be with you at every step of this journey." With these words, hearts heavy with worry began to feel a renewed lightness, a certainty that they would face the challenges ahead. As she concluded her message, Mary offered a final directive: it was time to act. The words she had shared were not mere warnings or abstract spiritual concepts. They were an urgent call, a direct request for each person to begin their preparations immediately. There was no time to waste. The storm was already brewing on the horizon, and those who ignored its signs would find themselves in peril. Now is the time to act, Mary urged, her voice soft yet imbued with resolute firmness. You must prepare spiritually, physically, and emotionally. But you cannot do it alone. Individual faith was essential, but it was not enough. She emphasized the importance of unity, solidarity, and collective strength. The spiritual battle ahead would not be won by a single heart, but rather by a community united and driven by faith. Mary clarified what this meant in practical terms. She reiterated the importance of prayer. Prayer will be your greatest shield against the invisible forces already in motion. However, she cautioned, it would not suffice to pray only in moments of despair. They must cultivate the habit of deep and sincere daily prayer. Mary highlighted that prayer should be a daily commitment, a sacred time that fosters connection and strength. Pray in your homes, pray with your families, she advised. Every time you come together in prayer, you create a protective circle around one another. The faithful listened intently, understanding the significance of her instructions. Each moment of prayer would serve as a beacon of light, illuminating their path and fortifying their spirits. By embracing this commitment to daily prayer, they would not only prepare their own hearts, but also weave a tapestry of hope and resilience that would encompass their entire community. Mary's message was clear: in unity, they would find strength. As they stood together in faith, the challenges ahead would transform into opportunities for growth, healing, and deeper connections with one another and with the divine. Each prayer, each act of kindness, and each moment of solidarity would be a testament to their commitment to the light, helping to guide not only themselves, but also those who would follow in their footsteps. She explained that this was not merely a request for help, it was a way to strengthen the spirit and shield oneself against the negative energies that would seek to destabilize faith and trust in God. Mary invited everyone to seek out powerful prayers, those passed down through generations, prayers that, as she said, directly touch the heart of God. She promised that the words of faith hold great power, and those who remain steadfast in their prayers will find peace even amidst chaos. Beyond prayer, Mary emphasized the necessity of practical preparation. You must be prepared, she urged, not only spiritually, but also physically. The Virgin Mary understood that the coming difficulties would encompass not only spiritual battles, but also material challenges. She warned that scarcity and economic hardships would impact Mexico, catching many by surprise if they did not start preparing now. Stock up on food and prepare your homes, she advised. What was coming would not be solely a spiritual war, but a crisis that would affect every aspect of life. Mary mentioned that political and economic pressures were already moving in the shadows. People would need to be ready to resist these tensions. The repercussions of the powerful nation, she had alluded to, would not be felt immediately, but would gradually manifest, affecting many lives. You must be ready, she reiterated. Only those who are prepared spiritually and physically will be able to face what is to come without losing faith. She also spoke of the importance of sharing what one has with the most vulnerable. Charity is a way to strengthen faith and shield the heart against despair. Help the poor, care for the sick, and welcome the hopeless, she said. Through compassion and action, they would fortify their spirits. Then Mary revealed the most critical point of her message: time is short. She looked tenderly at the faithful. The forces are already in motion. What will happen soon cannot be avoided. But you can be ready. There was urgency in her voice, a final plea for people not to ignore this call. It was no longer a time for doubt or hesitation. Everyone needed to act before it was too late. She pointed out that the signs were already evident. Those who paid attention could see that changes had begun to manifest: restless hearts, growing tensions, and spreading despair, all harbingers of the trials to come. Yet, For those who kept their eyes open, signs of the divine would also be present, small miracles, moments of light and hope emerging amid trials. Observe the signs in heaven and on earth, Mary urged. The great changes that are to come will not only involve disasters, but also internal spiritual transformations. The world around them would begin to speak, both visibly and invisibly, serving as a warning for everyone to stay attentive with hearts prepared to recognize when God would intervene, even in the most challenging situations. At the end of her message, she extended an invitation to faith. Do not lose hope, she said. Even in the darkest hours, the light of God will continue to shine. Her voice was soft yet carried a strength that seemed to penetrate the souls of those present. You are not alone, and you never will be. I will be by your side, guiding and protecting each of you through the storm. Mary asked once more that each person present commit themselves to faith and action. Put your faith into practice, she urged. Pray, help, love. Amen. Only then would they be able to withstand the darkness that was about to envelop the world. With a final gesture of blessing, she reminded them that what was to come would not be the end, but rather a new beginning, a time of purification, renewal, and spiritual strengthening. You have the choice, Mary proclaimed. The light is in your hands. Now, it is up to you to decide what you will do next. Join with others in action, and be ready to face trials with hearts firm in faith. The time for acting is now.